Good morning, Patrick here from Complete Health. And I apologise, I never actually jumped on yesterday. And there are probably a few reasons as to why maybe I've not been as on task with my Facebook Lives in the last couple of weeks. Now, I tend not to miss more than a couple of days a week, but I try to do one every day. However, there have been a few things in life that have not necessarily been going to plan. There have been a few things that have not been necessarily going to plan. So we're obviously having our house done. Obviously, I've got stuff going on in the clinic. I have new chiropractors that are applying for jobs with us. And so there have been a lot of things going on. However, does everything always go to plan? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So at the moment, we're having a little bit of a trouble with a little bit of miscommunication amongst our builders. And so work hasn't necessarily been scheduled at the times that it's needed to be done to get certain bits done. And so it's basically put back other people on other parts of the jobs as a result. So does everything always go to plan? Absolutely not. And this can be the same with clients in the clinic, is that sometimes we will be making really, really good progress, and all of a sudden the patient will then have something that goes on in their life that will trigger a problem to then start again, or vice versa. They could be doing really, really well, and potentially something to do with their treatment triggers a problem. It's not always necessarily what we expect things to do or to happen that always takes place. However, we can learn from these situations always. So some people use these as an excuse to never do that thing again. And other people will actually evaluate and look at that situation and they'll go, what can I learn from this? So there have been cases in the clinic where things haven't necessarily gone the way that I would expect them to. There are things that have happened in my training routines that I haven't necessarily expected, or movements that I've done wrong in the gym that have actually hurt my body. Just an example from the other day is I was doing some boxing, or did some bag work, and I haven't done any bag work because I haven't had a bag available for me for the last 4 months, because we haven't had the gym open, and our gyms are back open again, and I did some bag work and it sprained my wrist. We didn't properly communicate with our builders, and as a result the plastering didn't get done on the wall that needed to be done on the right days, and as a result has ended up meaning that the rest of the work is being pushed back on our house. There are so many things that we can't plan for. However, have I learned from all these situations? If we make patients worse in the clinic, do we learn from that lesson? Absolutely. If we see things change as far as our procedures are not being communicated properly with patients over the phones, do we try and work on those? Absolutely. The thing is that all problems are essentially the universe's way, or the world's way, of telling us that we need to learn a lesson. And if you, as Einstein used to say, if you try the same thing over and over again and you expect a different result, that is the sign of insanity. If you try the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, that is the sign of insanity. So realistically, there are no problems as per se. There are just lessons. The only problem is if we do not learn from those lessons and act and react and change accordingly. So maybe there is something going on in your life that you want to blame on something else or someone else, or another situation. But what can you actually do, and what can you learn from that situation? How can you actually start to adapt to it? And what maybe is the world trying to tell you? And by the way, if you're having stress or trouble at work, maybe you've got a colleague or something going on, maybe that the world is trying to tell you that that's not the job for you. Maybe you're constantly getting injured in the types of sports that you're playing, and maybe the world is trying to tell you that's not the sport for you, or there's some rehabilitation or some extra work that you need to be doing to be able to do those things. Maybe you're not feeling fulfilled or happy in yourself. Well, again, the question is you've got to ask yourself, is why, and what lesson is it trying to, or the world trying to teach me, so that I can adapt and actually change to that. So, like I say, always having lessons. This week has been a week of lessons for me. And hopefully we will learn and we will adapt and we will improve from it, as we always do. And that's all we can ever do. So just know, if the week is being tough, just know that you can do something about it, you can learn something about it, and you can improve on yourself as a result of these things that maybe will upset you initially, but there is something you can always do and improve on to make sure that situation doesn't happen again, or that you can improve on the current situation that is at hand, which is what we're having to learn to do. Patrick here from Complete Love. I hope you learn some lessons and don't have many problems, because we should always view our problems as a lesson. Always. Till tomorrow, take care.